Heavens, Auntie, you scared the living daylights out of me. Shouldn't sneak up on a man like that. Good way to earn a bullet betwixt the eyes. Could be a little of both, I'll grant you. I've been so wrapped up in my business, I'd barely notice a ship dropping out of the sky if it didn't land on me. Guess I should apologize for all that hullabaloo before. Just mistook you for another unfleshly manifestation. Look, I know how it sounds, like I'm a few crabbles short of a hurt, but just hear me out. It all started the other night. Saw a personage leaving the greenhouse, late. Figured it for Emily, but when I asked her about it, she didn't know what I was talking about. Happened again the next night. Gave chase that time, but lost them hereabouts. I turned a corner and they'd up and vanished. Or maybe this entity only had the strength to manifest but briefly on this mortal coil. Communication would have proven too difficult for a being of pure information. Well, maybe. I still don't know all the particulars yet. But it's one theory. I certainly won't say no to having a fresh set of lamps on the scene. Just be careful. Hate to see you disappeared like that foodstuffs.
I suppose it was only a matter of time until we were discovered. Though what an odd thing to die for. Apples.
Is that not why you've come? Because you discovered our recent larceny at the greenhouse?
The greenhouse's stolen bounty offered a healthy alternative to gorging ourselves on that vending machine poison. Alas, I was spotted on one or two forays. I am merely quivering with rage over this insulting interrogation, and that scent you so subtly pointed out is the aroma of noble effort. Foreign to you, I'm sure.
Thought I saw you disappear in here. Oh. Seems I've stumbled into quite the shindig. You lot been hiding out in here all this time? Touch cramped, ain't it?
The more I listen to you invaders blathering, the more convinced I become of the need to rid our fair island of your wretched stupidity by any means necessary.
Not very copacetic, are you folks?
If this exchange is not to your liking, I can accommodate you with a bullet instead. And if I deny your assessment? Ordinarily, I would feel confident about having the superior number. But as you pointed out, our condition is rather deleterious at the moment. Very well. With so many invaders yet to slay, I would be remiss to relinquish our lives in such an unworthy duel. We surrender. For now.
That was some slick talking. Can't believe you got them to surrender without firing a shot. I thought for sure we'd have to blast our way out of here. Guess I had this mystery all wrong. Small part of me was hoping... Nah, never mind. It's downright foolish. I lost a friend in the invasion. A good friend. Thought maybe all this was her trying to send me a message of some kind. Like I said, foolish. She was. Yeah. Oh, that feels good to say aloud, even if it hurts too. Romantic entanglements ain't exactly encouraged between troopers, especially in the same division. Supposedly compromises our decision-making in the field. But I digress. Thanks for your help, and for listening to my languishments. Glad someone else might remember her now, too.
My cover story has worked. I am safely ensconced at the Vox station, assigned to the lowly Information Input and Retrieval Department. It seems a colony so certain of its absolute control over its subjects can be less than rigorous when it comes to security. I was able to easily widen out a space behind the walls of the main control room to establish my safe room, giving me unfettered access to the communication transfer conduits. I have hacked into their system downstream from the security protocols, so I am able to infiltrate their entire system with them being none the wiser. While I have little doubt as to the success of our mission, trepidation still gnaws at me. Though I cannot say why. Perhaps it is simply the normal mission commencement jitters. I thought my duties complete. Information gathered, reports filed, preparations made. I'd even created a fictitious identity and work transfer to Horizon Point Station well ahead of schedule, in order to keep anyone from tracking my movements upon commencing the mission. All that was left was the waiting. Or so I thought. Then, troubling information came to light. I've seen the numbers. I've seen the equations. While I don't understand all of it, I understand enough to know it is the truth. And I am the only one in a position to act upon it, though it means the betrayal of my team and the duty I swore to uphold. But can I? I did it. They are all dead. And I am still alive. I had not expected this. I had prepared no alibi, and so felt assured my ruse would be discovered and I'd not have to carry this burden. But the complete gullibility of the Protectorate's subjects cannot be underestimated, it seems. My threadbare excuse of my grievous wounds as pitchball injuries was accepted without question. I can only keep telling myself it had to be done. Something which becomes harder by the day as the rift anomaly grows in the sky. But it was all part of the plan. Wasn't it?
I can't believe this. Void me if I understand any of this. DeVries sold us out for what? Because of a few equations? Some dots and lines on a graph? Good fucking law. I mean, she wasn't a damn scientist. She said it herself. She didn't understand all of it, the math. So what was she thinking? How can you be so even-tempered about this? I know you didn't know her like I did. Like I thought I did, but she betrayed us. She killed our friends, Commander. Damn it! I never wanted to talk about this. I wanted to just leave it alone. Told myself, no point in dredging up the past. Should have known it wouldn't rest. DeVries may have saved me on Triangulum, but I wasn't the only one looked up to her. Lots of the other recruits talked about her too, back at the academy. We all thought she was the pinnacle of what an agent should be. Tough, smart, ain't a job she couldn't get done. And better and faster than everyone else. Inspired all of us. Reckon so. Some might embarrassing how much worship we all put on her name. You put a tool in my hand, I would have built monuments to her. Figure my own career could be just that. Doing for others what she done for me. Never imagined I'd actually get to work with her. Me, some nobody from Triangulum. And then she betrayed us. Tried telling myself it was an accident, but now we've got the cold, hard proof it wasn't. Law only knows why she trusted the Order's numbers. Ain't cynical if it turns out true. DeVries was willing to sacrifice us. I have to know what for. I mean, she always struck me as so pragmatic, real sensible-like. Never figured she'd go all in on predictions from a bunch of monks. Done some good too. Even I can admit that not everyone following the plan is a fanatic. But when those beliefs start to require hurting others, even killing them, that's worth questioning their virtue. No, didn't even know DeVries was alive until she brought the satellite down. Until then, what kept me going was mostly training and stubbornness. And Val. But to your point, holding someone who's wronged you accountable for their actions ain't an act of vengeance. Some might call it justice. Whatever name we put to it, it'll feel damn good all the same. Whatever her plans, she started putting them in place while stationed undercover at the Vox Relay. Our next point of order ought to be getting in there. Reckon there's got to be someone on the island who can help us with that. Let's keep asking around. Friendly-like.
Would pulverizing them suffice? No, I couldn't liquefy them. Apply heat and congeal them into kibble no beast could resist. Oh, Ethel, darling, you're a genius. Approach with less haste next time, won't you? Copernicus may be tame, but he still doesn't take kindly to being startled. I am Ethel Tinsley, chimeric scientist. I'm responsible for taming this delightful raptidon here. He will protect our fair town from his feral brethren in the wilds. Theoretically. Officer Carr has been in a state waiting for me to train the raptidons to, maul on command. It's rather pressing, and alas, one scientist-turned-tamer can only do so much. One might say I'm perhaps a bit on edge. Folk here have grown weary, shall we say, with the war effort, and with avoiding Carr and the minister's would-be fisticuffs. No, I don't believe it is. That's what the Protectorate announcers wanted us to believe anyway, before Auntie showed us the truth. No, this is quite abnormal, I'm sure. Anyhow, all I know is that if they were to begin working with each other, the mood in town would certainly be merrier, or something akin to it. Well, I was a subject once. Despite my talents, the plan dictated that I should be relegated to programming cleaning mechs. Bah. But then, Auntie's Choice came along and offered to transform our lives for the better. I chose to accept, and look where I am today. Over the last year, I have climbed the rungs of my division through the sheer merit of my work. I have finally earned the respect I was always due. Poor things. They either fought to the last or chose to flee. It's regrettable, but some folk just aren't ready to embrace change. All they knew was being told how to live. They couldn't imagine any other way. Ask any of the other Protectorate subjects who converted, and they'd echo my words. When one can allow their ambitions to show, that is true freedom. Why do you assume I had anyone I could consider as such? My parents returned to the void long ago. No siblings, no children. I am the sole bearer of my name. As for friends, few cared for a janitor who talked to herself and preferred her books to praising the sovereign. Couldn't possibly understand what it's like to be seen as nothing. Then finally be afforded the opportunity to prove your worth. In any case, I do hope I've satisfied your curiosity. The war effort and liberating the rest of the Protectorate waits for no one, you understand? I would never imply such a thing. I'm sure the Minister and Officer Carr have only our best interests at heart. Though I must admit, their continuing quarrels give me trepidation. I'm unused to the way things are done here, I suppose. The Protectorate leadership never behaved in such a manner. So I should return to the Protectorate and accept swift death for desertion? Certainly not. I would much rather stay here, continue my work, and hope my leaders can reach an accord. Challenging though it may be, one wishes to woo Protectorate subjects to our ranks. The other wishes to secure a decisive victory with weaponry and technology. As for which approach is best, I wish I knew. I see. I hope his spirits may be sustained. I have grown fond of the Minister, but I cannot help but wonder if he fully understands how proud the Protectorate are. It takes great courage or desperation to acknowledge the wrongs of one's society, and even more to leave it entirely. He may find that courage to be rarer than he thinks, or perhaps he will manage to prove me wrong with his powers of persuasion yet again. How I would welcome it in this case. Very well. I ought to focus more on my work than on social tensions anyhow. I work directly with Officer Carr and her soldiers to ensure they're outfitted with the best Raptidon counterparts Paradise Island can provide. In theory, they'll be trusted to guard our most precious assets, including our leadership. For now, they deter encroachment from wild Raptidons. It's most agreeable. Oh dear. I rather hoped that Copernicus rolled off the tongue a sight better than designation C0P3R. I suppose I'll ensure he responds to both in any case.
It's the third drone in as many days. Where are the void damn things coming from? Not likely. I've been keeping my lamps open for these things ever since they started attacking. But thanks for the concern all the same. Of course, we could have staunched the flow of drones by now if Officer Carr dispatched another patrol, as I requested, but no such luck. That was a nasty one. Drone downed him on the reload. I do hope he's on the mend now. Erickson's a fine fellow, if a rather poor shot. He told you about that? That blasted, well-meaning gas bag. Now I gotta ask him to strike my involvement from his report to Officer Carr. You see, I, wasn't exactly authorized to be shoring up other patrols on the perimeter. In fact, I might have been specifically ordered not to leave this spot. Thanks. Well, at least some people in this unit still understand the concept of discretion. And taking initiative. Trouble is, it's only a matter of time before these Protectorate drones break through and do some real damage to Fairfield. If you're keen on lending a hand, Bounty Terminal's just left of the constabulary. Carr doesn't trust me with that kind of work anymore. Not after my last performance review. So I guess we're trusting in degenerate bounty hunters now. That would be an understatement. Look, a fresh conscript like you wouldn't understand. I was due a promotion 3 cycles ago. Yet here I am, same rank and post, constantly being lectured and talked down, mocking me like I'm some unlearned recruit. Sometimes they send 2 or 3, but you're right. It feels like the Protectorate is still testing our defenses. But I'm our last line of defense right now. Plus, Officer Carr ordered me not to step foot from this post. Really wish I could give those drones a piece of my mind. Unfortunately, I need to hang back and exercise my obedience to authority. Go out there and do what I can. Show that bounty terminal and those Protectorate drones why no one fucks with Fairfield.
Let me guess. Gun keeps jamming, armor don't quite fit snug as you like. State your division and I'll get you outfitted, quick and proper, or your next provision's free. Thought these old factories caught a whiff of decrepitude percolating in the air. I'd explain it then. As Chief Replenishment Officer, it's my privileged duty to furnish our brave troops with all of their wartime essentials. You could say I put the ration in liberation. Tell me what you need and I'll do my ample best to supply you. Good eye. Though I'd say they're better than nice. Got more armor than a Hammerclaw, but better flight handling than the old clunkers we used to stock. If things had turned out differently, might be someone else standing here, while I'd be off piloting one of those beauties. Don't have the aptitude for flight, apparently. But this role suits me fine. I like the upward mobility, in the metaphorical business sense, I mean. Already got the bug, huh? Huh. All right, come on. Let's give you a quick tour. And over there, you see, the fuselage has been modified to endure the pressure of repeated entries, which is... but listen to me blathering on. Tell me what you need, and I'll do my ample best to supply you. No one here but you, me, and several tons of well-oiled machinery. What's this about? Now there's an odd request. If you've got queries about my stock, I'm sure I can answer them for you. Wait one rapt-gone moment. Did Miss Galloway put you up to this? She asked me for terminal access not even a fortnight ago. I'd call it coincidence if it didn't feel so much like conspiracy. I can't for the life of me adduce a reason as to why a greenhouse manager would be interested in military inventory. What kind of plants are we growing in there? All the while, I thought they were growing healthy little comestibles. They were planting the seeds for psychological warfare. Literally. Shows what I know. All right. Ms. Galloway can have access, but only because I believe in not biting the hand that feeds, or in this case, grows. Keycard to access the terminals on the boxes right outside my stores there. Feel free to nab it.
Trainee Lindell, be so kind as to remind us all what the first rule of the range is.
Guns are weapons, not toys.
And do we aim weapons at colleagues or at our own unprotected upper stories, even in jest? Hint, we do not. I can assure you they are. The soldiers before you are former Protectorate subjects, mainly of the farming variety. No knowledge of combat. Scarce experience wielding anything deadlier than a wrench. They are accustomed to being told what to do, when to do it, and even how to think. A lifetime of habitual servitude is not broken in a day. I'm only responsible for familiarizing them with the weapons they will come to rely on in future. However, having observed them on the range, they fail every hurdle, but keep getting back up. I'd say that speaks to an admirable resilience. Or stupidity. Difficult to say which. I'm not one to idle in the path of a good faith effort to accelerate education. The faster we can get more soldiers in the field, the better. There's just one problem. I don't know you. So, respectfully, I must ask, what do you feel qualifies you to give instruction to my recruits?
What? Oh, sure thing. The commander here is an experienced Deadeye and a natural leader. If you're looking for someone to deposit a few pearls of wisdom, I guarantee you'll not find better.
Much as I'm inclined to trust the word of your compatriot, I still expect you to advocate for yourself. You're the one who wishes to speak with my recruits, after all, not him. You do have a certain confidence about you that is presently absent in these recruits. Very well, I'll allow you to speak with them. Don't make me regret this. Attention trainees, guns down. That means you too, Simpson. We have a guest who has a few words to share.
You have something to say to us? No, but it's probably what we deserve. The others are right. We're not cut out for this.
In the short amount of time we've shared, I've already observed a great deal of improvement in each and every one of you.
You really think so? Gee, imagine how fearsome we'll be in a month.
Precisely. Anticipate, then react. Now, if Auntie's faith in you is not misplaced, then prove it, trainees! Weapons at the ready! And fire! Well done, trainees! Well done! It appears your words have had their intended effect. Oh, thank law. The trainees seem quite taken with you, too. As I suspect they would riot if I let you leave without a reward. Please, accept this revolver with Auntie's thanks. Plan willing, I will have as much success deploying your wisdom with my next batch of recruits.
Hello again. You get that inventory issue sorted? How grand. That officially mops up the last of the mess from the buffoons that came before me. And, as promised, my good fortune is also your good fortune. And while this might be a tad fewer bits than you were hoping for, remember, you've also made allies that you'll find all across Arcadia. Just keep watching for paintings of a stylish yellow rose with a split black circle near the middle. Like the one you passed on your way in. Find that rose, and you find Sub Rosa.
I know I've been pushing to find DeVries, so this might seem a bit of a left turn. But void it. I'm just gonna ask. Got an old friend here on the island. The doctor who patched me up after Horizon Point. Ex-Protectorate, a good man. Tracked on the Westport a short time ago, but never got up the nerve to visit. Reckon we could drop by and pay him a visit. Brief one, of course. I'm being serious here, Commander. Could you try doing the same? I had some bad years on my own. Now with you here being part of a team, this might sound a mite soppy, but I feel like I could be a proper agent again. That starts with writing accounts. This friend of mine, Zebulon Tran, I let him down. And I've been chewing on that live wire for a while. Too long, maybe. After I recovered from Horizon Point, Zeb and I ran together for a spell, doing what we could to help folks in difficult spots, fighting protectorate tyranny in small ways. Too small for Zeb, as it turned out. He was unhappy before I showed up, and after, well, all my directorate talk fired him up even more. I had my orders. I was to stay low. Couldn't let the protectorate catch wind of an Earth Directorate agent in its midst. But Zeb, he kept pushing to take more extreme action. Resistance is a mite strong. Wasn't like he was part of some greater movement. He avoided speaking out of line, but he was already spinning up discontent by the time we met. We worked hard, but the Protectorate's arbiters and sentinels worked harder. Often than not, our help only made targets of the folks whose lives we were trying to improve. Didn't matter what we did. Arcadia was still caught under the Protectorate's boot. Guess some of what you said way back when stuck. All that talk about putting people first. Figured that's what I was doing, putting a stop to all the pain I was causing. Anyway, things weren't good. Zeb and I couldn't find the rhythm we had before. We were arguing every day. Eventually, cutting ties just seemed for the best. Clean like. Only later I learned Zeb hadn't given up the struggle like I assumed he would. He got to stay in mental refreshment for his trouble. That's the last I heard of him, till recent. If it weren't for Zeb, I'd be in the ground. It's a debt I never properly repaid. Plus, I don't relish his last memory of me being a vanishing act. I owe him better. And since finding you, well, a lot feels possible now that didn't before. Much appreciated, Commander. Promise, I won't be making a habit of pulling skeletons out of my closet. Westport's on the east side of the island. I tracked Zeb to somewhere on its outskirts, but never got up the nerve to visit before now. We ought to start there.
Oh, law, I can't believe he jumped that way.
Sir, I know this isn't the time, but are they gonna put us to the gallows for this?
What? No. That ain't how we operate in Auntie's Choice, Liza. We might be looking at a pretty fierce demotion for losing half our workforce and getting stuck up here, though.
Demotion to fertilizer?
No. Now cease your jawing. This ain't the time. Hey, you! You down there! Would you mind checking on our fellow? Might he have survived the fall? He thought those boots would make him fly, but they really just allow the user to jump repeatedly. Unless their downward velocity is too great. If so, well, you see what happens. Not nearly as upset as we are. We've been stuck atop this machine since Ida, one of our new Protectorate acquisitions, had her gray matter scrambled by the height, jumped down, and landed right in its gears. I can't fathom no sensible motive. She joined us shortly after Auntie liberated her with the freedom of meritocracy, and she seemed happy enough.
Were you not listening? She said she'd always be a loyal subject. It was part of the endless inculcation we endured in the Protectorate. It can prove insurmountable for some.
The notion that she'd sacrifice herself, even after seeing the vast possibilities in staying alive and climbing the corporate ladder, it's just impossible to cognize. There ain't no way off this platform besides jumping, and you've seen how that ends. But you being down there makes you uniquely qualified to help us. The reason Jackson tried using those plasma thruster boots was to gather a piece of machinery we'd spotted on a little table halfway up the spire.
It's a drive overloader. If we install it, we can push the platform's arm hard enough to... well, to grind old Ida out of the gears.
Though the power of that overloader will deluge the system and, well, overload the drive and burn it out all permanent-like. But desperate times and all that.
So if you were to use them boots to bound up the spire and deliver the overloader to us, we'd avoid the tragic fate of our 2 former cohorts.
Exactly! Because he had no idea how science works and thought the word thrusters meant he could fly. So when I told him to jump, he opted for open air instead of where I told him to go. They're experimental. We'd not laid eyes on them before, but the data we found with them says they were actually designed to let people hop their way up the spire. If you activate the plasma thrusters when you're already airbound, they can give you a fair bit of extra boost. It should let you turn a quick hop into a surprisingly grand vault.
Thank the Sovereign. Thank you, stranger. We are eagerly anticipating a long life, utterly absent of starvation.
That was some impressive climbing. Poor Jackson could have learned a thing or two from you. Starting with the right direction to jump, I suppose. Wonderful. Get us down, and I'll happily compensate you in accordance with standard Auntie's Choice urgently improvised extortive standards.
We've certainly found our way into a most harrowing circumstance, At least I'm glad I'm not alone. He hadn't been here terribly long, so we weren't particularly familiar. Like me, he was also former Protectorate, but he was not raised in Fairfield, so we'd never met before. Still, he seemed like a friendly, kind sort, albeit a headstrong one. I'm sorry he's gone. Please do hurry. I've lost count of how many meals we've missed, but it is closer to many than a few, and we're starving.
Oh, thank the law. I never thought of myself as a vertiginous sort, but being trapped 100 meters in the air will make you reconsider.
I mirror that sentiment, to be certain. In fact, Auntie will have to pay me triple if heights are to be involved. And isn't it grand to be in a system that allows me that freedom?
I agree with Liza. I'm inclined to keep a few paces from farming equipment from now on. Here's your reward for evacuating us with all our parts intact. I perhaps ain't as awash in currency as I'd prefer, so you can have my helmet as well. It was useful for identifying crops we'd missed in our harvest, but to be honest, I'd like a little distance from plants for a spell.
Hello. How are you, El? Are you doing tonight? I'm spectacular according to Regulation 1, 2, potato. What I need is potatoes. I'm just, that sounds correct.
I don't suppose you know anything about Crabble medicine, do you? So, it seems as though the issue ultimately boils down to 2 words. Purpleberry crunch. Yeah, I brought a box from that fancy new shop in town, and Lucy... Oh, this is Lucy, by the way. Little Lucy became fully frantic when she smelled it, so I figured it couldn't hurt. The box says they're packed with healthy preservatives, so it's got to be good for you, right? But I guess I was wrong. Now she won't get up. And these Crabbles, they mean the world to us. We raised them from hatchlings, and I'll be broken if Lucy dies because of me. Any help you can offer is more than I've been able to do for her so far, and I'd be grateful for the try. I can hardly believe my lamps. Looks like she's feeling much better, and I think she's taken a liking to you. Good luck shaking her off you now. Once they're smitten, they try and stick to you like a canid. Now, I don't have too many bits to pay you with, but this'll unlock that old safe in the house. It wasn't mine to begin with, so you're welcome to anything in it.
Oh, what's this? Non-protectorate personnel just sauntering up onto my porch, free as they please. Admit I'm accustomed to a higher standard of precaution. State your purpose, outsider, or exit yon way you came. Well, that all sounds rather exciting, like something out of an Aetherwave serial, which I've watched only for official research purposes, of course. Most in the Protectorate don't know what the Earth Directorate is, you know. Suspect you've received a few blank stares if you've mentioned it afore. Anyhow, you travel freely. I'll forgo appealing to your sense of duty, as those outside the Protectorate lack such motivating principles. I presume you accept payment for services? In my role, I compile material providing special insight on other colonies. Items prohibited to others, news logs, serials, and the like. During recent troubles, unsavory elements removed certain items from my old office. Among them, a series which took considerable time to assemble. A form of manipulatory ideation disguised as popular entertainment, intended to sway the audience to their point of view, couched within just a crackingly exciting narrative. Tell me, are you familiar with Science Adventures Quarterly, featuring Commander Zane and Buddy and other sensationalistic space stories? It was a popular fiction periodical from not long ago. Each of its 10 volumes featured an exhilarating cover illustration depicting Zane and Buddy's thrilling exploits. Whether they faced automechanical industrialists or robber magnates from the Plutocrian kleptocracy, their tales remained invigorating thrill rides. The line represented a growth of the medium from the less sophisticated 2-bit dreadful, both in style and effectiveness. Its remarkable popularity not only mirrored a rise in public sentiment against greedy corporations and tyrannical governments across colonies. The brief window surrounding the volume's release saw a marked increase in skip drone requests for Earth Directorate aid. I believe there remains much to learn from them. Ah, quite right. In fact, delightful. Once you have one of the 10 periodicals in hand, I will trade you for rarities and bits.
No, you ain't got what I need. And you can't come stumbling around here looking like prey. These raps ain't had a bite to eat since their pods dropped from the look of it. And a desperate rapt is a dangerous rapt. That obvious, huh? Yeah, I was hoping there'd be something worth harvesting. Something worth the trouble of killing the poor creature. But hope is the father of disappointment. If the occasion calls for it. But I fancy myself something of a biologist. Or, at least I used to. Me and Raptidons, we're well acquainted. I know their patterns, behaviors, attacks. Know what gives them an edge around folk who ain't in possession of that knowledge. Which is why I gotta ask, what are you doing here? Yeah? Well, I'm Trooper Silong. Inez, former combat medic, Enhanced Soldier Division. Now just a menial troubleshooter who looks to have gotten her job swept out from under her. They're always counting me out. Every single one of them. And now, they ain't even letting me finish the jobs they send me on. Kinda making it hard to prove myself here. And this rep didn't even have anything that could help my graft. This whole thing's a wash. Sick of it. Well, the only people who believe that are in this room right now. Including that dead rapt, I reckon. I'm considered a liability. My graph's all wrong. Most everyone else who got one passed or became permanently incapacitated. So they shuttered the program. It was a total failure. Everyone in Fairfield reckons my time will come soon too. But I'm still mostly upright. For now. I just know I can do more for Auntie and for the war. It's just this damn contract. Unless I can amend it so I might fix my graft, proving myself ain't happening anytime soon. Weren't many of us grafted soldiers to begin with. To think I'm one of the lucky ones. No, Enhanced Soldier Division was the fancy public-facing name for the grafting program. And when I say it was shuttered, I mean completely fucking demolished. Bet they'd erase it from the financial records if they could. It was that much of an embarrassment. In the wake of such a failure, it's left us grafted folks with no support. I only been able to treat my own ailments thanks to Doc Tinsley in Fairfield. She worked for the program for a time. She's a good one. She's bound by contract to work on whatever task Fairfield's illustrious leader set her to, nothing else. But she also ain't quite got the hang of the employment thing. You looked at the fine print of an employment contract lately? It says any action taken by a worker that could result in impeded work must be approved by the contract holder. Not only would trying to fix my graft impede my work, but it's also financially unviable, unproven, a risky investment. So I'm stuck with a limb that's slowly poisoning me. Could pursue fixing it myself were I out of my contract, but if I attempted to end it, I'd have to waive all employment rights for the next year. It's a non-starter. Let me put it this way. If I was already on the bottom rung, this knocks me clean off and buries me in sand. But I started from nothing before. I could do it again. Maybe. Ain't easy moving between companies, and I wasn't always with Auntie's choice. But that's a story for another time. Get the feeling you will. Anyhow, think I'll return to Fairfield to have a little chat with Milver Street. Good luck in there. Mind the wraps.
Is it me, or has my ankle been squeaking? You can hear it too, right? Must be the damn rotator again. Anyway, need something, Commander? It was less merger and more hostile takeover. I don't have all the details, but it sounds like Spacer's Choice tried to outmaneuver Auntie Cleo through quasi-legal means and got a hell of a lot more than they bargained for. And now her new brand's been turned into an invasion force bent on conquering the entire system. Funny how life works out. Oh yeah? What's needling you? Fair point. Guess Horizon Point didn't exactly foster a lasting fellowship, did it? Whoa. Too soon, Commander. All jesting aside, what's there to tell? Spent the first year getting back up on my feet, literally. Been mostly laying low since then, maintaining my cover. Before the invasion, at least, the Earth Directorate still needed someone to watch the colony, and I had 2 working lamps. Not always. Went a couple of stretches there on low power to avoid detection from Protectorate patrols. I usually shut her down for a few cycles then. The way you're gawping at me right now makes me think I answered that question wrong. I appreciate the concern. Won't lie, had some hard years. Got caught up in a few lost causes, the particulars of which I'd rather not go into now, if it's all the same. I found you. Oh, and Val's been stalling less since I patched her acclimator. Ship doesn't smell anymore. That's about it. Spratwurst. I was trying to teach myself some new skills on the galley. Val got it into her hardware. I needed a hobby. I figured Spratwurst ain't an easy meal to mess up. Well, I learned about 20 ways how not to fix a worst. Like most colonies, good people being ground down from above. A lot of fancy talk from suits about streamlining and quarterly earnings while them on the line barely scrape by. Triangulum's known for churning out freighters, and shipbuilding ain't exactly known for being clean, safe work neither. Especially when corners get cut. Can't remember a time I didn't end the day all banged up, filthy, and smelling like I just crawled out of an exhaust port. It was hard work, sure. But there was something special about seeing one of them long haulers fire up her engines for the first time and knowing you had a hand in her construction. Funny thing was, I wasn't even an engineer back then. But I wanted to learn. so I paid attention. Too good of attention, as it turned out. I was working late one evening and overheard something I shouldn't have. Some bigwigs exchanging inside information that would have cost the corporation a pretty bit. A day later, I was being accused of corporate espionage. Didn't want to bring any heat down on anyone else, so I went on the run before the first jackboot showed up at my door. Well now, you'll have to tell me what those other things are sometime. I was on the run for, I don't even know how long. The days sort of bled into one another. I started losing hope of things ever changing for the better. Then, the Earth Directorate showed up. They liberated Triangulum, pulling me and the rest of the colony out from under the corporate boot. Joining up after that just made sense. I could ask you the same thing. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd gone back to my old life instead of becoming an agent. Stayed on Triangulum, become an engineer or something near to it. I knew joining up with the Earth Directorate wasn't going to be a life of low turbulence, but at least it'd have dignity and purpose to it. Not much dignity in having your limbs blown off. Sorry, that was blunt. I just get tired of talking around it, you know? But back to your initial question, do I regret becoming an agent? Yeah, some days. But then there's days like the one when I found you, and, well, not much to regret there. Only thing I know for sure is my opinion today is colored by more than just the rosy tint of a low-run kid looking up at the stars. Life's not fair, but it keeps on. You buttering me up for a favor? I'll tell you right now, I'm not taking extra shifts cleaning the head. Well then, thanks. Just hope that good opinion of me holds. She was one of the forward agents who went ahead to assess just how bad Triangulum had gotten. We met while I was in hiding, and I helped her learn the lay of the land, as it were. She was no nonsense. I thought her one of the smartest people I'd ever met. And while she could also be cutting, I felt like I only caught her edge when I deserved it. I liked her. And for some reason, she seemed to take a shine to me. But she wasn't around long. By the time I officially joined up, she'd already moved on to the next mission. Sure was. Kept hoping I might run into her during training. But now I know she was busy turning her coat here in Arcadia. My folks shuffled off the motor coil when I was little. Assembly line accident. Got passed between some distant relations for a few years. They tried their best. Weren't cruel or nothing, but life on Triangulum was tough. And they had their own families to worry about, you know? I didn't like feeling like I was adding to their burden, so I struck out on my own just as soon as I could. And well, you know how that turned out. Yeah. Thoughts crossed my mind over the years, especially when it was just me and Val. I wish I spent more time with her when I had the chance. No point missing something you're never getting back, though. That's either hope or foolishness, Commander, and I can't tell which. Even if we survive the rift, 10 years is a long time to be gone. No word. They probably figure I'm dead. But void it all. Now you got me thinking about it. How about this? We ever make it out of this system, I'll take you back to Triangulum, make the introductions myself. Deal? Oh yeah. They're gonna get a real charge out of you.
Awaiting orders. How may this unit assist you, Commander? Presenting the Valerie unit. The latest and greatest in a line of Earth Directorate support automechanicals. All you could want in a squad mate at half the cost. The Valerie unit is the exclusive property of the Earth Directorate and is not intended for civilian or commercial use. Resale of this unit is strictly prohibited. Searching mission parameters. 1 moment. Searching. Error. Unable to find current mission parameters. Defaulting to last known objectives. Goal. Infiltrate Horizon Point Station and retrieve data pertaining to skip drives and rifts.
You'll have to pardon Val, Commander. She gets confused sometimes. Logic unit can't always keep up. I keep tinkering with her assembly, but no dice. Mighty kind of you to say. Just wish I could do more. But I suppose age comes for us all in the end.
Do you have any other queries, Commander? Attempting to ride this unit in order to replicate the experience of flight is strongly discouraged. This unit can support up to 100 pounds of weight while still remaining airborne, and is not ideal for body transportation or disposal. Do you have any other queries, Commander? Vitality augmentation, logistics evaluation, reconnaissance, and information extraction unit. Do you have any other queries, Commander? This unit was first deployed on a mission to Redacted more than 10 years ago and was primarily credited for that operation's success. Other highlights include the triumph at Redacted, the rescue of Redacted, and the first successful execution of the Stanfield maneuver in zero gravity. Detailed instructions on how to perform the Stanfield maneuver are proprietary to the Earth Directorate and strictly confidential.
Never scored myself the clearance to learn it for fact. But best as I can tell, it's a complex EVA involving a drone and an agent shot up with enough adrenal to wake the dead.
Attempts at the Stanfield maneuver, as proposed by theorist Marion Stanfield, has resulted in multiple deaths, mutilations, and maimings, leading to a ban shortly after discovery. Do you have any other queries, Commander?
Anyone got lamps on Schultz? Anyone? Void be damned. Sallying into the wire like that with nary a wish in her pocket? What was she thinking? Did I not make clear our orders to hold the line here regardless of provocation? Should my instructions have been more robust? Perhaps assisted by pictures?
I'm afraid there's more bad news, Commander. She also took Scrabbles, sir.
Would that he'd done her more good. Seems Calamity has claimed 2 good soldiers today. You there. I don't normally sanction nameless passers-by giving ear to my private discourse. That right. Earth Directorate. Not many would claim such affiliation these days. None from Arcadia have the knowledge to lie about it. What's your business at the Vox? Sounds serious. Were it in my power to offer aid, you'd have it. Alas. Whatever your purpose, I feel a contractual obligation to warn you against setting a heel past this base. If you go any further, you go alone and at your own peril. No Antes forces are permitted beyond the forward position upon pain of disemployment and possible litigation. Our orders are to sit and mind the store for as long as need be. Though I've cogitated on the matter at some length, I lack answers. Only those breathing the rarefied air of the upper rungs could say for sure. Mystifying as the decision is, I'm confident Carr has some grand strategy at play, even if I have not, for some irksome reason, been made privy to it. By steadfastly holding the line here, we forestall any retribution the Protectorate would seek to inflict upon Fairfield. And we will continue said watch until orders change. I'd thank you to affix some ballast to that name when you speak it. Scrabbles has been integral to this unit's success for years. Outsiders may see him as a toy, but we've bled alongside that stuffed sprat. He's damn near family. Schultz obviously knew the risks and hoped he'd protect her through the minefield. Alas, even Scrabble's power has limits. Still would help morale to get him back, though. I'll pardon your skepticism given your lack of acquaintance, and say only this. Ask not what Scrabbles achieves for us, but what we can achieve with him. I half believed you meant that offer, Unless you weren't being playful. I confess, the challenge of holding the forward position does not satisfy as might a straight-on tussle. But I would prefer to avoid staining my reputation by participating in such a needless blunder. Carr was, shall we say, non-ambiguous with her orders. Far be it from me to speak poorly of a superior, but I have pondered over her choices as of late. She's been sullen about sharing her strategy, too. Still, however brightly my star burns, I remain in her orbit. She is my superior officer. I defied her once, and I received the verbal tanning of a lifetime for it. I see you haven't gone and blown yourself up yet. I'll be spaced. Scrabbles! And hardly the worse for wear! You've no grasp of what his return means to this unit. Scrabbles was originally a gift from my daughter. He fought with us during the Consolidation War, and has seen this squad through every hard deployment since leaving Tau Ceti. He's also packed with some of the finest grade stimulants this side of legal. Here, for your trouble. Livener like that comes in handy when you're in a pinch. While we appreciate you returning Scrabbles, you'll not provoke me into a course of unwise action if that's your aim. Milver Street's always rambling about signs. Suppose this might fall under one such category. For the sake of discussion, let's say that I agree to this enterprise. Such non-compliance is unlikely to go over well with my direct report. How do you propose I handle Carr? That decides it. I'll make a full account of my actions after the bridge has been neutralized and victory secured. Forthwith, as soon as we fortify ourselves, of course. Troopers, to me! We need to prepare. Our attack is imminent. We'll pay those bastards back for Schultz. This is what we've been waiting for, troopers. What all those days and nights of trial readied us for. We're delivering death free of charge. Forward to victory, profits, and the furtherance of Anti's glorious enterprise. The bridge is ours, and with nary a scratch to show for it. Thanks for your contributions to this great and honorable endeavor. For as long as we hold the bridge, safe passage is yours.
Did you not hear me? This place is closed. No learning today about how everything happens according to the obscure calculus of an indecipherable plan. Why are you asking? Who are you?
The people she tried to kill.
By the architect. I had no idea. I wish I could say it was unbelievable. I was afraid she was becoming a danger to herself and to others. But this is horrifying.
Yeah, imagine how we feel. Why don't you tell us where she is so we can make sure she ain't being a danger to herself or others?
And how are you going to do that?
That ain't something you ought to be concerning yourself about.
If you think I'm going to help you do what I think you're talking about, you are deluded. It is of no matter, regardless. I do not know where she is. I haven't seen her since before the corporatists invaded the island. I'm afraid she's going to do something terrible, but I just don't know what. Maybe none of this would have happened had I not introduced her to Victor. How did... You saw her terminal, didn't you? Victor's an Order archivist. We were all friends for a time. But then, shortly before the schism, they started talking to some others inside the Order. That's when things became tense. I started to become uneasy, scared, really. She kept getting angrier with the Order the more she worked with Victor and her other contacts. On top of everything else, it became just too much for me. among other things. For some reason, she was obsessed with the cliffhanger ending of Chapter 6. It was the one where capitalist fanatics brought complete destruction upon Arcadia. But you know how it works. It was somehow miraculously saved at the beginning of the next chapter. Didn't matter to DeVries, though. She just kept going over it and over it. Would have talked to a Crabble about it if there was no one else to listen. That and the invasion itself set her mind to dark things. I begged her not to go down that road again. She was so agitated when I first met her. Must have been 7, going on 8 years ago now. She never slept, didn't talk to anyone if she could avoid it. After we became friends, she began to change. Still bothered her from time to time, but I thought it mostly behind her. I couldn't watch her go back to how she'd been. Or worse. We became friends when she saved me. I'd said something without thinking. Must have been distracted. We all know to watch every last word we say. For some reason, she interceded on my behalf with an arbiter, and she convinced him he didn't hear what he actually did. No one does that. Void, I didn't think anyone could. We all were, originally, before the schism. But she never gave it up, even when it became illegal to even mention their name. Which was surprising with how angry she seemed to be getting with them, even as she was deep into scheming with Victor and the others. She even continued to sign her messages, "See you in the equation." It's all so confusing. What do you mean? It was where she worked, one of the Protectorate's communications hubs. She didn't speak of it much, at least to me. She may have spoken to Victor about it.
She ain't the only one.
It's difficult to explain. She spoke about things in unfamiliar ways. I felt her words to be freeing, at first. But slowly, I began to feel unmoored, doubting everything I ever knew. She said learning the truth of things was worth it. But now I question whether her truth was just more of her penchant to sow chaos, no matter who may be caught in her schemes. Some days I wish I'd never listened to her at all. Others, I can't help but miss her. Even with everything.
Know a little something about that, too.
I did try to. Once. After the corporatists invaded Paradise Island and took over Fairfield. They seemed to let anyone in there. Some boisterous fellow even tried to recruit me. No. Nearest I could surmise, she'd left just prior to the fall of Fairfield. I'm ashamed to admit, I did break into her safe. She used the same code for everything. 15-778.
That is Agent DeVries' identification code, Commander.
She said it had some meaning from her previous life. I'd hoped she'd left something for me, but the safe was empty. Just a religion driven by algorithms, maths, predictions of the future. They believe they will eventually solve the universal equation and know everything, rid humanity of uncertainty. No. But it had to be someone's fault, right? The Protectorate couldn't possibly have failed to safeguard the colony. And they had to answer the accusations the Order leveled at them. I know I've no right to ask this of you, but when you find her, please remind her of who she used to be. She's unwell, but I know there's still hope for her. That's all I can ask.
If you're wondering why there's so many engineers sitting here on their rears, it's because the dang Crabbles ran us out of the desalinator. Now we're stuck here on standby wages. Hope you ain't jesting with us, friend. Can't wait to get back to making full-time wages. Thank you kindly.
Injuries detected. Please seek medical assistance prior to loss of consciousness. How may this unit assist you, Commander? Paradise Island is a sparsely populated landmass located off the west coast of Eden's primary continent. The island is host to idyllic coastlines, verdant flora, and extremely hostile Protectorate garrisons. Plan your visit accordingly. Affirmative. Engaging standby protocols.
Visitors, huh? Just meandering about, free of any appointed minder? Not so sure I ought to be speaking with you. If you need someone to talk to hereabouts, I suggest you seek out Vigilant Hogarth. That tall, stately building back yonder is his domicile. Do hate to come off impolite. If you're so inclined, we can pick this up later, after you two confabulate. Word to the wise, despite what you might hear, we still consider ourselves part of the Protectorate. Anyone spots an outsider engaging in misdeeds might just open fire.
You locked in here under your own steam and appear reasonably free of cuts, burns, or weeping lesions. So, I assume you're presently devoid of mortiferous injuries. Good. Because we've got more of that than we can handle. You haven't heard? When Antes invaded, they broke the seawall. Flooded nearly half the town below, where most of the domiciles were. A number of our subjects drowned. Others got concussed, or even crushed. A few were electrocuted or exposed to caustics. Took a while for our water purifier to catch up, so some drank tainted water, which is not good for you at all. I'm glad it's working again. All right, well, don't let me keep you.
It is my esteemed pleasure to welcome you to Westport, once a shining testament to Protectorate excellence, now a picturesque example of the evils of corporatism. But where are my manners? We do not have much, but please, let me offer you some victuals. Tut. I insist. Serving Unit 1. Something for the visitor at once?
Confirmative.
Perhaps you're wondering why I'd open my arms thusly for a stranger. Simple. As the guiding light for humankind, we always put our best foot forward, regardless of circumstance. I believe something still can be done. This town can be saved, its people given a reprieve. Were we to acquire the one thing vital to our existence, automech parts. What?
Comestibles served.
We of the Protectorate pride ourselves on our mech programming. Among the vigilant, it is even considered something of a sport. We are not miracle workers, however. Without parts to work with, we've no hope of remaking our mechs to do tasks beyond their initial functions. We need repair mechs, domestic mechs, not combat ones. Serving Unit 1 here is about as much as can be accomplished without replacement parts.
A meticulously designed marvel where...
Oh, you failed to hear the loudspeakers on the way in? The announcement we're obliged to repeat incessantly. Well, allow me to paraphrase. Protectorate law finds us guilty of treason on account of letting Westport fall prey to Antes Choi's saboteurs. Well, obviously, we've forsaken our duties as members of the Protectorate. It is incumbent upon us to fight to the death. Yet we still live, as does our enemy. Now, either the Arbiters arrive to execute us, or this place falls under the vapid boot heel of Antes Choice. No matter who wins, we cannot sustain ourselves here for long. My linguistic embellishments are somewhat beside the point. This here's a matter of accountability. Responsibility was mine. Disgrace and judgment should be mine solely as well. My intention is to absolve my subjects of any and all such blame. I owe it to every single person here to try.
Don't risk falling prey to imperfect thoughts. Go now.
That's abundantly kind of you, though there must be something I can offer. Enough to lead and inspire those who work there, once at least. I was previously the ranking vigilant on this island. Why do you ask?
Insufficient zeal in defense against seizure, sabotage.
Difficult place to saunter into. Station's off limits to anyone without the highest security clearance. For anyone lacking reason to be there, it's assured suicide. In exchange for the automech parts we need, I can provide you means to get inside. Never dream of such a proposal in days of reason and quietude. Yet such is the here and now we find ourselves in.
everyone knows the paradigm.
Wonderful. My unavoidable march to the gallows feels lighter already. At least now my subjects will have a fleeting chance. The parts can be found at the Euphoria Coast Automech Repair Center to the south. But do not, under any circumstances, tell those stationed there why you need them. To get inside, you will need an access pass from the Ministry of Accuracy. Since we have all been marked as traitors, I cannot create one for you here. Farewell now.
Appeared right out of the Aether, just as I imagine our proud sentinels do. Like, here I am, your innermost thoughts are known to me, and nobody once hears from you again. Caught me reciting passages from a beacon to the cosmos, illustrating my steadfast fidelity. All subjects prosper under the guidance of our beneficent ruler, the Sovereign. That part always hits me directly. To quote my personal log, an essential passage, rightful and true. Charlton Weintrott.
If each of us does our part, produces glorious bounty.
Why, that's wonderful. I'm actually quite relieved a fellow customer like yourself somehow saw through my carefully maintained act. Others in Westport fail to perceive my true nature. I am hardly one of the herd around here. A reference you'll no doubt recognize from those keen Auntie's Choice commercials. I am not familiar, though that does sound like one of their products. I refer to the ones for Purple Berry Crunch brand cereal. You likely guessed their influence right off, what with my assertive attitude and all. I laugh at danger. I hand make my own luck. That character is a revelation. You and I are just like him. Get up and go-getters. Say, did Auntie's Choice send you here? Don't fret, I am exceedingly skilled at keeping secrets.
Is a fellow subject lacking?
If I understand the subtext, that means yes. Dearie me, you are the first secret agent I have ever met. At least in waking life. Now, do tell, what is the latest word from the field?
Under protectorate law.
Of course. Toodaloo.